Welcome. We're in our series, Inside Out, and in that series we're taking some time to look inside the church and figure out how all the mechanisms work so that we can appreciate what the body of Christ does and how efficient it is. Today we're talking about administration, and that may to some of you not sound very exciting at the onset. And by now you have met the members of our administrative team, those who work behind the scenes, making sure things are done in an accountable fashion. And I want to introduce you now to a man that leads that team, Mr. Alan Stanley. He's our Director of Administration and Finance. And Alan, I just want you to be able to express to the family here at Christ Church a little bit about yourself, how long you've been at the church. You've done the job a much shorter time than you've been at the church, but you come from a business world where you did very similar things. But first, tell us how long you've been at Christ Church.
I think I've been a member about 24 years, coming up on 24 years, somewhere in that neighborhood.
And you came because of a wife.
Well, my wife brought me here. My wife, Paula, maiden name is Witherspoon. She was born in Purcell, and she was raised in this church. I think she said that she was here the Sunday after she was born. Has been here ever since.
Well, we sure appreciate her bringing you along. And now you've been a part of the professional team here for a couple of years. And before you came here, you worked for Leggett & Platt, doing something very similar. Did a lot of things I don't understand with numbers and crunching all of that and keeping things accountable with taxes and so on. Explain to us why you would have made that switch from the secular world to working in the church.
It was really a journey that God led me on. Looking back, I know that God has been preparing me for this job. And if you had asked me when I was in college or 5 years into my career or 10 or 15 years into my career, what my career goals were, church business administrator would not have been anywhere on that radar. And it's only since then that I began to kind of evaluate my career goals, and discovered that if I could do anything I wanted, what was that? And the answer I discovered was a church business administrator, because I have been involved in the finances and the administration here for a long time. I knew what it was like, and I discovered that's really what I wanted to do. So I've made a career change. I'm lucky that I've had this opportunity to be here, and I really relish the time here.
Alan, if I were to ask a question, because a lot of people may not see this, and I don't have the gift sets that you do. I don't have the personality you do. And so doing all those behind the scenes bookkeeping things really wouldn't interest me a lot, and I do a terrible job at it. So I personally appreciate what you do for the accountability of this church and the team. But if you were to explain to somebody that has no understanding why you could call a business administrator a ministry, how would you answer them if they asked that question?
Well, it's a good question. You know, what I see as my goal is to do whatever I can to make the ministers' jobs easier so that they don't have to get bogged down and doing any more administration stuff that they can. I want the church to run smoothly, and for a lot of those details and a lot of that behind-the-scenes stuff to be taken care of with as little involvement from the ministers as possible so that they can do their jobs. And to the extent that I'm successful at that, then I've added value to the ministry. I've supported them in their jobs.
And probably some things you didn't know when you took this job was that you would be in charge of a lot of different areas, like the building and properties, with our building and properties manager doing a lot of the work, but you're his supervisor when he's away. I've seen you take care of, the bus, the van, the plumbing, a few things like that you probably never expected when you took this job.
Yeah, that's true. I think yesterday I unloaded 40,000 communion cups and put them away. But
and which college class prepared you for that?
It must have been a PE class. I'm not sure, but it's all part of it. Working for a small organization, but that's it's all good. Yeah. It's all fun.
Well, I think that's what I appreciate the most, Alan, is your training and your expertise. Could easily work in a Fortune 500 company, and you did. And yet your heart told you that there's something of greater value for the kingdom and for eternity than that. And that requires that you have a ministry heart that never gets upset when you unload 40,000 communion cups, or when a toilet is having problems somewhere in the building and none of the maintenance people are around. Those are parts of ministry that I've just been joyfully watching you fill in and working with your team. They do an excellent job. Your goal of keeping us out of administration is working, and because of that, the church is doing a great job at ministry, and I personally appreciate that. So we're glad to have you on the team.
Well, thank you. And I do have an excellent team, and I couldn't do it without them. They take care of so much of the detail, and they're wonderful.